You can see how well the sawdust works as a mulch everywhere that I put it on really nice and heavy. Anywhere that I haven't put it up really nice and heavy, where I just ran out of money, then the weeds just have to be the ground cover. There's still sawdust there, but just not as much. And I also got kind of tired of the bindweed, so I put down plastic. But everything's looking really good. Those are all starts that were in the hotbed earlier this year. Figs, mulberries, grapes, and then we have sunchokes, which are Jerusalem artichokes, garlic, Swiss chard. This is a walnut that came back from the root. So you can see we do have weeds, and what we'll do is we'll go through and hand weed right directly around the plant. So that means we need to come in and do this in here better and just get that competition down. But for the rest of it, we just kind of let things be healthy and take care of themselves. If they want to live, we let them live. I do use a lot of mulch, but it costs me $200 a ton for sawdust, which is pretty expensive. I cannot get it for free around here. And so I put sawdust on new plantings, and then after that we use our weeds as mulch. We'll come in and we'll cut it with the weed whacker or the scythe. We'll feed it. This bed is still supplying us with a lot of cucumbers, and then the turkeys have been getting into this part of the bed. You can see that a lot of it is kind of broken. See those broken bits? That is from turkeys. We love them so. They've been so much fun. And ducks and chickens don't really fly over things like this. They kind of leave them alone. Turkeys, on the other hand, do not. And again, we've got more eggs in there that need to be pulled out. All right, what you guys doing? You can go in the backyard. Okay, so I'm gonna go make breakfast now. These are alpine strawberries, I think. They are more of a bunching strawberry, and you start them from seeds rather than from starts. They don't send out runners, they drop seeds. And they're a lot sweeter than a normal strawberry. So that might not have been one. Usually they're smaller. Yeah, here's some. These ones. This is my fall lettuce garden and fall cucumber. Huh?
Why do I keep hurting myself?
I don't know.
I just stubbed 3 of my toes on the El Camino tire.
I'm sorry. Do not come over here, turkey. I don't want you on this. Okay, I'm trying to reposition this so that it... So this is lettuce, and then the others are cucumbers. But I gotta pull this off so that I can put it back over so that the turkeys will stay out of it. So, big, beautiful butterhead lettuces. I planted this a long time ago. And if I want to protect it, I've got to get that cover back over it. Got lots of little wannabe cucumbers in here. I don't see any actual cucumbers. You've got to have pollinators. But this was all just an experiment. I wanted to see if this is a second batch.
Can you put that other squash on?
Huh?
Can you put the other squash on here?
I think you're crushing tomatoes.
Not ones that... If I am, only the ones that are already crushed.
Okay. Thank you, honey.
Yep.
Did you already get...
Jared sees me going up the stairs.
Huh?
Hopefully Jared sees me going up the stairs.
Or just tap on the glass a little bit. Alright, so I pulled some of these out. Maybe they'll get some fertilizer, some pollination. That's the right word, pollination. These are ground cherries. They're called ground cherries because they run along the ground, but also because their fruit falls on the ground when it's ripe. Hi, turkey. You guys are so helpful. You guys are so helpful. I'm majestic. I'm eating my ring. Okay, so you can see here where the turkeys have preyed upon the Swiss chard. They don't care for the strawberries that are in there, but they do want the Swiss chard. They love Swiss chard, they love kale. So I'm not upset about that because we have so much food. I don't mind at all. I think it's great. I think these guys are super cheap to feed. Of all our animals, these are probably the cheapest because of how much they will forage for themselves. We have bourbons and one bronze. This one I want to protect. I had 2 strawberries make it and 1 rhubarb make it. I need to come in here and replant the strawberries. And then this in here, I just removed the cage. What I want them to do is I want them to come in and eat all the kale. I want the turkeys to come eat all the kale and fertilize the beds. And then I'm going to plant this whole thing into strawberries. So tasty. Tasty diamonds. Alright, other things we have going on. The girls are always building cages to stop animals doing some things. Our grapes. Our grapes are just about ripe. And we had quite a few windfall pears. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to have the girls come out and harvest those and feed them to the pigs. These are small, but they're very good. Okay, so John has been using the freezer dryer.
And John has not got the hair for this.
Me neither. Do you want me to point it at something that's not your head? Okay, walk up. So do you like it? That's tasty.
That's what?
Tasty.
Tasty? Sticky?
Sticky.
Sticky?
Not as sweet as I thought it would be, so that's kind of early.
Right. So it's freeze-dried watermelon. And I can see why the girls call it candy.
Yeah. Oh, I just bought into this.
Very sugary.
It's a, what is it called? American Harvest? What is it called? What's the name of the brand?
Oh, is it watermelon?
It's our Harvest Right freeze dryer.
Harvest Right freeze dryer.
Of which we need to get a full video put up for.
Alright, so for those of you who don't know, sweet potatoes, there's orange, there's white, there's kind of purplish. Sweet potatoes are like strawberries. They send out runners, which is why when you sprout them up and they first start to root and leaf in the jar, you can pull those leaves off and just stick them in the ground and they turn into new plants. They're prolific. Well, I'm having to come out about every day or two and harvest the greens. They're good for people food. You treat them as spinach, and this is the part that I harvest. This stalk here and the leaf. That's the part I actually use for the people food. This stem here, or more than you can eat, you can feed to rabbits. And then also, Kai has been the one out watering for about a week. Usually I come through and grab anything that is crowding and not as people food as it could be, because we got a lot of food in here. And I haven't replanted anything. It's just that we harvest everything that can be harvested, and then that gives more sunshine and more water to what's left in here. So this is going to rabbits. This will not be wasted. And then for dinner we'll come out and we'll cut some more sweet potato vines for dinner. And we're in Idaho. We don't have a heated greenhouse. We just have the hotbed, which the soil in the hotbed is warm and it's composting, and that's how we're able to grow sweet potatoes in Idaho, because this little piece of plastic over the top would not protect sweet potatoes well enough from our late frost. We have frost into June, and we planted these sweet potatoes in end of April so that we would have a long enough growing season that they could grow and be harvested. So we've got celery, lots of sweet potatoes. This whole thing used to be lettuce and Swiss chard, but as the season got a little warmer, we planted everything else in, and now you see there's no lettuce and there's no Swiss chard, or there's just some that's gone to seed that was just kind of a fluke. We have some carrots. I don't know how well she has been watering, but that one looks pretty good, so she must have been watering pretty good. We have tomatoes. Generally I don't like to put tomatoes or big bushy things in the hotbed, but I always just want to experiment and see. I've had to cut out several of our ground cherries because they just get so big. They just spread. They'll take all the space that you'll give them, which means that our peppers and our sweet potatoes and our basil are getting really crowded by any place that I have ground cherry. Ground cherry is really yummy. It's like a tomatillo. Well, it is a tomatillo, but it has fruit that tastes like pineapple. It tastes like dessert instead of like salsa. It's heavenly, especially for little kids who want to be able to just go out in the garden and snack on something. So this is basil. This whole thing is basil. This is celery. It's cutting celery for soups, not crunching celery for peanut butter. You can see some of our lettuce has not bolted yet, which is lovely. We used Butter Crunch this year, and it's been fantastic. So I need to go ahead and get some more of this harvested for rabbits, just so that I can make space. Because when it's this crowded in here, they're fighting each other, but they're also preventing water from getting in. And so I need to keep harvesting until I can see the light of day and I can get my water in. I do check for earwigs and bugs, which is why I put one in at a time. And I try to break it into somewhat more manageable bites than just the whole piece. And then whatever we can't fit in the pot, this goes to the rabbits. Other mama, let's see if I can show her to you. This is the black mama that has 8 to 10 that make it. Hey, turkey. Okay, this is the brown mama that you guys saw earlier in the video. She had 18 and she raised 11 to maturity. And we have her does, her girl rabbits from that litter, saved. She has one baby left in here with her, and then we have a few other babies in another cage.
This is one of her prettiest babies.
Yeah, that one looks more like a Rex, doesn't it? Her fiber's really nice.
Yeah, it's like a Rex. You know how we had the Sun Russet and Sun Rosette that were that color?
Uh-huh.
But this one's has the Rex fur. No, I'll just push it down with my hand.
We don't do that because it breaks the container. It's hard on the cage. Okay, with the rabbits, I always have pellets in there for them, especially if you have babies. You need to have pellets in there because they need high protein. They can eat garden refuse, and we think they like it because they prefer that over the pellets, but they have to have access to pellets too. We use the metal waterers because in the winter those drip bottles will freeze solid, and we can't use glass, we can't use plastic because again it freezes in the winter. So we use the metal ones and they work really well. All right, so you can see once again that the ducks keep most of the weeds down. They do a pretty good job. Anyway, there we go.